guys, what's up? This is Mustang Spook. I just went back to Forza Horizon 3 with another investigation. There's only 3 vehicles in this one, but each vehicle has 3 wheels because there was a new DLC that came out today, or whatever day you're watching this, and it added this little guy, the Morgan 3-wheeler. It may look old, but it's actually from 2014. So, this is the second 3-wheeled vehicle officially to be in Forza. There is the Isetta, which is technically 4-wheeled, but the rear wheels are close enough together that it might as well be 3-wheeled. So, I thought, with this new DLC, what better than to put these 3 3-wheeled vehicles to the test. Now, I decided to do the Isetta first. And the final of the 3 challenges was to be a danger sign. Now, I realized a slight problem with the Isetta. It doesn't really rev. At all. We're at 47, 48 miles an hour off-road. And when we jump off the cliff for the danger sign, we kind of do a little swan dive. Or we clip a rock, and it doesn't count our jump. Still has not counted our jump yet. Because we keep the vehicle so slow that it physically doesn't make the jump. Like, there's a small problem. I need to get an official result that's not 6.7 feet. So I had to get very creative with how I jumped. I basically just do a swan dive and... I mean... Well... This has never happened before. It is now 1 with the rock. Oh, it's almost free. Hey, it's free. The Isetta is almost free. Oh, where is it? Isetta. Isetta? Are you okay? There's the Isetta. Good job. You jumped 97 feet, which is actually shorter than you did in your actual jump. Which is pretty impressive. But, yeah, the Isetta lacked the speed and just basically sucked, unfortunately. Okay, so the next one was the Morgan 3-wheeler. And, although not the fastest vehicle, with only 86 horsepower, it did still manage to get semi-good speed going off the cliff. And that's why it actually did a rather impressive jump for a 3-wheeled 82 horsepower vehicle. So, yeah, pretty good showing on that. Now, the little Reliant was an interesting thing, because it is the fastest one here. However, it also is the worst one to take the jump, as in it hates taking the jump. Also, it hates turning. Because you don't want to turn it too much, or else you can get it to roll. Rolling is bad. Now, actually, this is a very lucky thing. I had to do at least 10 or 12 tries in order to get that to happen. But, oh my. Okay, then. Well, proper Reliant Robin right there. Yeah, that actually went surprisingly well, considering during the actual official run. I think I had to do like 10 or 11 tries for Reliant, just to get the thing to land and not roll over on impact and fail the danger sign. So, I'm impressed that that worked as well as it did. Now, on to the results of this, of the first event, the danger sign. It's in first place, we have the Reliant Regal, 388.73 feet it jumped. Pretty impressive. But it is the most powerful vehicle and the fastest in a straight line, so not that surprising. Then in second place, we have the Morgan 3-wheeler with a 279.1 foot jump. So another good showing on that. And finally, in last place, with its majestic swan dive off of the cliff face was the little Isetta, with 125 feet, which I gotta say is very impressive for a vehicle that was going 45 miles an hour at the time of the jump. So I'm amazed it did 100 feet, much less 125 feet. So very good showing from the Isetta in retrospect. Alright, the second test was the 0 to 60 to 0 test, because these vehicles can barely get up to, these vehicles probably can't get up to 100 miles an hour on their own. So, in fact, I know they can't, but I still wanted to do a 0 to blank challenge. So I lined up at this bridge and did the 0 to 60 to 0 challenge. Normally a 0 to 100, but, we don't exactly have the power. Now you see I'm shifting up into 6th because the gear ratios are absolutely terrible in this vehicle. But since it is so light, it does get stopped rather quickly. So once again, up next, let's see Morgan 3-wheeler. Now, although heavier than the Isetta, it is also a lot faster. However, I did break a little bit earlier there. I do apologize. Luckily, these are not the actual official runs I'm doing because, one, I'm not keeping track, and two, I may have screwed up the braking there. I did it 59, not 60, but whatever. Back to what I was saying. Yeah, it's just not as fast in terms of the stopping distance. I mean, sure, it's a pretty impressive stopping distance, but it's not quite as good as the Isetta's. And it is no surprise that the Regal goes into first place, a whopping 0 to 60 to 0 in 6.78 seconds. That's pretty impressive, even, especially for a 3-wheeled vehicle. That's impressive for a normal car, much less a Reliant Regal. So good showing on that. Second place goes to the BMW. Even though you had to shift it into 6th gear just to get it to 60 in a decent amount of time, it still goes 0 to 60 to 0 in 10.66 seconds. Because it's incredible stopping distance. And in last place, because it is the heaviest and one of the lowest powered, the Morgan 3-wheeler. 0 to 60 to 0 in 11.55 seconds. Yeah, being one-wheel drive doesn't sound too advantageous in this area. And on to the overall results. In last place, the BMW Isetta with 5 points, coming in second place on the lap times, second place in the 0 to 60 times, and last place in the jump distance. Not too bad of a vehicle, but it just has terrible gear ratios and no speed. So if it just had a little bit more power and better gear ratios, I would have a feeling it would rival the best of the best. Then, in second place with 6 points, the Morgan 3-wheeler, with first place in the lap time, last place in the 0 to 60, and second place in the jumping distance. Just an overall good vehicle, not great, but good. But it was the best out of all of them on the track by a long ways. And finally, in a surprise first place, the Reliant Regal 3, with a last place on the track, but a first place in the 0 to 60 and a first place in the jump will give it 7 points. So this entire thing was very, very close. And yeah, it all came down to the fact that the Regal, although it got a last place, it did get 2 first place, and that is why the Regal won. Now, this is the racetrack that I picked because it was very short. It was less than 2 miles long. It had hills to test it. Also, we're zooming in a lot on the wheels. And it had fast and slow speed corners. So, I thought it'd be a good test for these vehicles. And then it began to rain. And the Isetta topped out at 99 miles an hour during testing, 96 on this run for whatever reason. Yeah, it just... Can I have like a decent camera angle, please? Thank you. Yeah. the rain kicked in, and it caused a bit of bother for the little Isetta. Now, that spin may seem most of a normal car, but this car has around 80 horsepower, and tops out at 96 miles an hour. We're going 40 right now, and we're about to come up to a hill, and we don't have the power to go up said hill. So, yeah, we cruise along at 40 miles an hour, struggle to get up the hill, maybe, possibly. Amusingly, I did come in 10th in this race, despite this. We had two Nissan GTRs that came in 11th and 12th. Apparently, they disappeared off the face of the earth, because I let everybody pass me in the race, because I had to do this in a race in order to get the replay cameras. I had to get them in a race only, not in rivals mode. So I did this in a race, let everybody else go in front of me, and somehow I ended up in 10th place. So I used this climb up the hill in order to tell you the story of what happened. Yeah, they disappeared off the face of planet Earth. Some say they are still flying around in the cosmos, but yeah, the Nissan GTRs no longer existed. So yeah, amusingly, the Isetta with a whopping 96 mile an hour top speed did not come in dead last. Up next was the good old Morgan three-wheeler that I raced, and I was just doing some hot laps. Now this is just for filming this thing, so I get the camera angles. And then it began to rain again. However, the even more incredible thing is I began to catch up to people. You may have seen a glimpse of a 2000 GTR. Yeah, I began to catch up to people in 86 horsepower, floating for some reason. Morgan three-wheeler from 2014. Yeah. So I went on the inside of a Nissan GTR 2002. Then I went on the inside of another Nissan GTR. GTRs are not having a good day today. Then I had another GTR that was the exact same color. They're not very creative with the colors of these GTRs. And I went on the inside of him. So this is a very good driving vehicle. I do very much enjoy racing it. Jaguar. I went on the inside of all those vehicles because I can. And you gotta get a camera angle, there we go. So I was really surprised on how nice to drive this vehicle was. And yeah, I ended up getting a 3rd place on this race. 3rd place. In a 3-wheeled C-Class. Jesus Christ, stop it. I'm gonna get someone in epilepsy. So, yeah, more than a 3-wheeler. Very impressive run. And I really did enjoy it. Now, the Reliant Robin. I was going to have a nice race with them. And then the Reliant said, no, you are not going to have a nice race with the 3-wheelers. You are not. You are not allowed to. And it was so. Because this vehicle was terrible. Absolutely terrible to drive. And the rain just kind of compiled onto that. Like, some people say they're like, sure, top gear modified their Reliant Robin so it would roll easier. But why? This thing only has slight power upgrades, and it'll roll over like a well-trained dog. And it'll go on 2 wheels for days, just for literal days. And somehow I was able to make it around the course, vaguely. And yeah, it was rather difficult to drive. I think I got 1-ish clean lap, if you're gonna call it a clean lap, in my trial. And luckily it could power itself up the hill, or else it would have a massive, massive issue called, as I call it, Isetta syndrome, where it physically can barely make it up the hill. Okay then, well that's always a good thing. See, it's always good to see the sky when you're rolling over. Just want a decent camera angle. Is it really that difficult to get a camera angle? I think it is. So, then, they give them a good look of what underneath a Reliant Robin looks like. We got to give the crowd a good thing. And then, the most spectacular of the crashes happened. Give me a good shot of it, come on. Be a good little camera system. And it'll come up right at the end of this corner. But, yeah, this vehicle is just so difficult to drive. I really don't know. If it could have good turning, it would be the best vehicle here. Otherwise, not so much. We only do our little front flip excursion. So, good job, Reliant. But, yeah, if this vehicle could actually turn without rolling over, this vehicle would by far be the fastest one. But, it rolls over way too many times. And in first place, without any shadow of a doubt, is the Morgan 3-wheeler. It just had good control. Lots of control. Not too much traction, but just enough to keep on the road. And that meant it did a lap time of 105.165 around our track. Then in second place we had the BMW Isetta. Even though it topped out at 99 miles an hour during the testing, it still made it around the track in a 1 minute 10.737. So the Isetta has been surprising me quite a lot in this episode. And in last place, I was gonna say final place. Yeah, final place here. In last place is the Reliant Regal at 114.775. Yeah, if it could get around a corner, it would be fine. But it can't, and you have to go 30 around a corner, or you will roll, guaranteed. There are a few times when I was long sweeping corners, so I could get like 90. But that's a very rare occasion. So, the Reliant is just way too rolly to win. So here is our winner, the Reliant Robin. Or, I call it the Robin, it's basically the Robin, but it's technically the Regal. So our winner, the Reliant Regal here. Yeah, I honestly thought this was going to go to the 3-wheeler that was in this position, but no. The Robin impressed me. I think it won just because of its speed. I think that's the only reason it won. Its handling is the worst vehicle handling here. But it can make up for that handling with the speed. So, around a track, it is awful. And you should never race this thing around a track unless you're planning to have some fun. But if you want speed for C-Class, I basically built the BMW and the Robin to the specs of a Morgan with rally tires. I figured we would be going on a dirt track of some sort, which we did. So I put rally tires on each one of these vehicles, and then I built them up to match the PI of the Morgan. So, just so it'll be a little bit more fair. And the fact that this vehicle was able to beat the Morgan, I found to be rather impressive. So there you go. If you want a 3-wheeler, the Reliant Robin is your answer. You just have to find it in the barn find or at the auction house. But guys, that's it for this episode of Forza Horizon 3. I'll be back with more.